Jeffrey falls for the blue pill lies. You can't ask her how many guys she slept with. Men and women are equal. Younger Hamza never considered the importance of a woman's body count in his relationships, because he had a fairly high body count too, so he didn't mind. But he had just not seen the research on this. He didn't realize how detrimental it would be for his relationships. Adonis only expects the best of his women. Adonis is a high quality man, while the weak men in his tribe fall in love with the whores. Adonis only has eyes for the best. Anastasia. Anastasia. Bro, why are all Anastasias just f***ing fit? I swear to God, if her name's Anastasia, she's like a solid 9 out of 10 at least. Studies show that every guy that she slept with before you increases her likelihood to cheat on you by around 7 to 11% per guy. And I'll reference all of these studies, which I'm going to talk about in the description. And if your woman has slept with about 10 guys, then she's 40% more likely to divorce you than the woman who slept with 5. You know that feeling that you get when you hear about a woman's casual sex experiences? Women and blue pill men will try and like gaslight you and shame you and say, oh, he's insecure, he's got small dick energy. It's not insecurity. Honestly, it's disgust. It's being grossed out. It's being repulsed. And I'm not saying this to be offensive. It's just what we feel. I don't want to be horrible to women. I don't want to say, okay, you made a bad choice, and so that means you're a bad person. I'm going to treat. No. Make whatever choices you want. Absolutely. Okay. You like your body, your rules. Absolutely fine. But me too. My body, my rules. If I feel like the disgust, then I feel the disgust. Don't try and fucking shame me for saying, oh, why are you being insecure? You. I won't be horrible to you. I won't say it to your face that you've done something wrong, but I will feel that emotion. As men, of course we would, because when we're getting into a relationship, it's the biggest commitment, it's the biggest investment of our lives. And something inside of us gives us a gut feeling to say, wait, hold on a second. She's been fucking. And you might be a blue pill spurg who thinks that he's a red pill alpha. There's a lot of those guys on YouTube right now. And they'll all say, no, I don't care about a woman's body count. Why are you being insecure, bro? I don't care. Why are you caring about a woman's body count? Because mine is high too. And I like fucking like, but we're talking about like wifing this woman. And if you don't want a wife, if you don't want to like getting married and stuff, fair enough, I agree. We're talking about like a long-term relationship, and the point of a long-term relationship is to have children with this woman. Otherwise there's no reason to like commit, right? We're not talking about just a casual girl to sleep with, because if we're just talking about casually sleeping with a girl, fine. Like there's actually like, you can't expect her to have a low body count because she's in the casual sex scene. You're in the casual sex scene, fine. But this video is for guys who want relationships, because a lot of guys have asked me this question. Like, Hamza, you know, you've been in the degenerate lifestyle. You've been fucking all these hoes. We don't want that. We just want like a good woman who loves us and everything. The good woman who loves you, the biggest indicator of that successful relationship that you want is this. And you've never been taught this before. We've always been taught to essentially accept female sexuality and to like, we're not supposed to slut shame in a sense. And I'm not even like slut shaming. I'm just the fucking messenger, okay? I'm literally just showing you what I've read from these studies, and I'm just going to give you my interpretation of it. I don't mean to shame women for their choices. I just mean to empower men. Women like to use that statement, so I'm going to use it. I'm just empowering men to have the right knowledge before they go and invest, because you should have all the knowledge and the right to act onto that knowledge when you make an investment. When you go and view a house, when you're about to buy a house and the realtor says to you, oh, you know, a family got murdered here, but don't worry, it was before you. So why are you being insecure, bro? But it was before you. It was in the past, bro. Get me the f out here. What are you talking about? Being insecure? F you. I don't want other people's DNA in my investments. That's a fucking good ass analogy for the same thing that we're talking about. I don't want other people's DNA. I'm proud of that one. And I'll be honest, I'm a fucking victim to this, because I've never considered the importance of a woman's body count before. Because I've been raised with this blue pill narrative that you've got to accept women because men and women are the same. Men and women are the same, so men and women can fuck like each other. No, it does not affect us in the same way whatsoever. And I never thought I'd be one of those fucking spurgs who copy and paste, you know, the lock and the key analogy. A lock that gets opened by every key is like a bad lock, but a key that opens every lock, that analogy is stupid as fuck. But now after I actually look into the research and actually like broaden my perspective through The Rational Male, all 3 books by Rollo Tomassi, I have a very different opinion. And I want to say again that I never thought that I would be the guy who's actually saying this, what I'm saying now. So I hope you can take this unfiltered knowledge to your benefit, because chances are, because this is politically incorrect and we're on YouTube, chances are you might be saying goodbye to my channel, bro, but I'll do it for the gram, do it for the boys. So my first proper girlfriend, age 19, I'm a virgin. I started kissing girls at age 17. The smallest like sexual stuff, like not really like proper sexual stuff, but you know, some stuff like age 18, 19 and stuff. The first girl that I have sex with is my like first ever girlfriend, like the love of my life, right? I was a virgin, she wasn't. She was a few years older than me. I was 19, I think she was 22 or 23. And she was actually like, when I look back now, she was actually like a very good girl. Like she has like a lot of great traits for like a long-term relationship, great family, strong father figure and everything, all close together and everything, doesn't drink, doesn't party and stuff. It destroyed me knowing that she had, I think, 2 or 3 hookups before me. So she told me that she had slept with 5 guys, and honestly, It depends on what you say, right? But when I look at this now and I think, okay, 5 guys by age 23, not bad at all. And it really depends what it is, because when you're evaluating this woman to be the mother of your children, and you know, I was fully in that mindset that I lost my virginity to this woman. I've never been with any woman before. I love this woman. I'm gonna like literally marry this woman and everything. This was before I fully committed to the red pill. Knowing that she had had a couple of hookups literally sometimes used to make me cry and feel so just negative, because she had 2 boyfriends before me, which obviously she would have had sex with. And what's interesting is that I don't remember ever feeling insecure about those guys. I don't remember ever feeling like negative that she had obviously had sex with like 2 guys in long-term relationships. But it was like the casual sex experience that she had, specifically because I had had none, that there was really, it was a very like gut-wrenching, painful problem that it made me like really look at her in like a different way, which of course you get shamed for doing, like for, not for doing, because it wasn't something I did. It was just something that like my male like gut instinct, you know, it happened. My gut instinct was just making me feel a little bit grossed out, like a lot like sad and nihilistic about our relationship because of it. There was something internal inside of me that knew that this was a poor indicator for like a long-term investment and relationship. And it wasn't insecurity. When I think back now, it was not insecurity. That's what these fucking like blue pill feminists and everything try and shame men. Like they fucking hate men, and that's what they try and shame you for. If you feel this, they'll shame you and say you're insecure, you've got small dick energy. No, it was not insecurity. It was disappointment. And even in the worst case scenario, okay, I'm insecure. Why wouldn't I be insecure of that? You're a young guy full of love. This woman is your first. This woman is your only. Like this woman is your everything, and you are her 20%. Okay, I'm insecure about that. Of course I am then. Wouldn't you be? And so after that relationship ended, and it ended not so much because of this stuff, although it did probably contribute to the stress that we had, but it ended because she had some like pretty severe health problems, and we were living in university. It was about 100 and probably more miles away from her house, and she just had the decision to like essentially just drop out of uni, go back home to live with her family and to be more in like a sense of comfort. It was already kind of assumed like we wouldn't continue like long distance, so we ended there. It was heartbreaking. Truly like I love this woman. I spent a month crying. I think there was one day I didn't cry. I shit myself as well. Like I'll just tell you the fucking truth. I still remember it. There's one time where I was like literally just crying. I was like in a fucking ball. I literally just lost the fucking woman of my life. I remember just like slightly shitting myself a little bit. I had to go like throw the underwear, like the boxes in the bin and shit. Missed the gym for like a whole month and everything. Eventually I'm becoming more social. That was a very lonely time because it was over quite close to Christmas, and so everyone had like kind of moved out of my university student accommodation. This was in my first year of uni, and so it was just me by myself. I remember this was when I was playing RuneScape for quite literally like 20 hours a day. It's a story that I've told once before where I would hop on and, you know, play with people in my country, play with people in different countries, and eventually the Australians would log on, and the time difference is so big that usually you'd get to play with the Australians like for a couple of hours. I think I would wake up in the morning and they'd still be online. So, you know, it'd be nighttime for them, so I'd play with them. They'd all go offline to like go to sleep, and you know, I'd be like doing my stuff. Usually at nighttime they'd log back on and be like, wait, Hamza, you still playing? Like they literally had an intervention with me, and like they all in the clan just wrote like, Hamza, you gotta go to sleep, bro. Haven't you been playing for like 16 hours straight? Have you had any breaks today? Like, don't you like going to the gym? Like, haven't you been to the gym or anything? And they were actually very nice people, because I remember about 2 years ago when I was like smoking weed a lot and everything, I remember actually kind of like saying it to them, and they really supported me in that as well. That's very off topic, but there's just some random fucking Australians in my clan. Good guys. So about a month after I broke up with this girl and depression phase and everything, I started going back out. My friends are back, and I'm just being a hoe now. Fully shut my brain off. I'm literally, now my purpose is just a fuck, right? And interestingly, for a solid couple of years, for like 2 years, I was being a hoe. I was going outside and fucking girls, but I was also dating a couple of these girls. And there wasn't even one time where I felt insecure about the girl's body count that I was dating. And why? It's because those girls automatically, I knew inside, would not be like long-term relationship. I always knew that those relationships would essentially end like today, like any day, right? There was never a long-term vision with those relationships, because it was just already like, that was the fact. Of course you're not gonna have a long-term relationship with some woman some girl who's like going out to the club. Like, I'm not a fucking idiot. Even though I date them, and even though one of the girls I literally dated for like 2 years and I moved in with her and everything, I literally all this time I always had the mindset, yeah, it's gonna end like any day. Of course it is. And honestly, I only dated them because I was still a low-value little spurg, and I just used to give out commitment too early, too quickly. And so 2 girls I dated had a body count of about 10. And one I dated, one was one of the most attractive girls that I've been with. She had about 40 something, I think about 50. I think she actually said that I was literally her 50th guy that she had slept with, that she had like 6 sums. Not even a 5-some, bro. A fucking train, a fucking orgy with 5 guys, bro. 5 guys before. And the thing is, I didn't even give a bro. You know why? Because I've never even like, although I essentially gave my commitment to her, I never assumed that we would be together longer than like a couple of weeks. I was essentially just giving commitment just to kind of secure being able to bang her and get the respect from my boys, and then knowing that it was going to end. And of course it did end. And it's like, I never once thought, oh, you know, it's discussing something, because essentially that woman was so far gone that I could never even consider her to be like relationship material. And so you might say, well, Hamza, you went on the whole phase. You like 40 girls, Hamza, in just a couple of, like, you fucking legend, Hamza. In like 2 years, you went from being a kissless virgin to like about, I don't even know what my number is, but I say about 40. And that's the non-live version, by the way. This is kind of off topic, but when a guy tells you his number count, you usually have to like take off like 10, 20, divided by 3 or something. The lie number that I tell people is 100. So if I was going to lie to you, I would tell you 100. But the realistic, what I really genuinely think is the realistic number would be about 40. A lot of guys fucking lie about this, and then I understand why. Every now and then I'll see a comment of someone saying, oh, Hamza, you've never even you say you've 40 girls, you've never even like one. Shut the fuck up, bro. I literally just told you I shit myself, bro. So you can tell that I'm not someone who fucking lies on the camera, bro. Relax. But so you might say, okay, Hamza, you went on your whole phase, you slept with like 40 girls, and you know, it's quite like disgusting. So shouldn't women feel the same about you? Shouldn't women feel like quite disgusted and negative about your body count? The thing is, they can. They potentially should. They don't. Now, of course, there's going to be some women who watch this and yeah, it is. I would never date a guy like, but honestly, it's BS. From my experience of speaking to a bunch of women, it's always something that they rationalize for me. Why? Because it's kind of a good thing in a certain sense. As long as you're clean, as long as you know you seem like a responsible guy who's getting like STD checks and everything. The reason why is because women intrinsically know that if a man's been fucking, that's a good man. That's like a guy who's good at being a fucking man. That's a guy who's high value, and it makes them like excited and also comfortable in a sense where they know, oh yes, okay, now that he's told me that other girls have been fucking him and it's obvious that other girls are fucking him, okay, it's like that's good. That's good for a woman, because it's like women don't want to sleep with a guy who other women aren't sleeping with. Women want to sleep with a guy who other women are sleeping with, and their like sort of dream plan is to make sure that no other women sleep with him, but they want to make sure that other women want to sleep with you. Does that make sense? I just gave you a fucking degree in like thoughtology. No, this isn't even for thoughts. I don't even mean to be offensive. This is literally just how women work. It's like they are very much herd creatures, and their emotional basis seems to be contagious. And so if a woman feels X, the woman next to her will also generally feel X. Does that make sense? So if a woman fucks me, it's like the woman next door will also feel potentially that she could fuck me, even though like she might not be as attracted to me or anything. But it's like a huge thing in her mind to think, oh yeah, this woman sleep with him. It makes sense, okay? And she starts thinking, okay, why is she sleeping? Oh well, yeah, he's 6'1" and he's muscular and he's got a business and everything. If it's the other way around, you're fucking screwed. If it's the other way around and a woman thinks that you aren't sleeping with other women, she's gonna then ask, why aren't other women sleeping with him? Oh, because he's not that tall. Oh, his business is kind of trash. He's got a weird face. He's brown. This is kind of a tangent, but it does show that there is a difference. Men and women aren't the same, okay? It does show that there is a difference, that women actually perceive a man with a high body count to actually be somewhat of a positive thing. The only exception to that, the only time a woman will see a man with a high body count as a negative thing, is if the man got that body count from prostitutes, essentially paid for it, or from like very, very low quality, very ugly, very like obese women. If it wasn't these two, which generally, like, I'm not gonna fucking lie to you, right? Every little red pillar on YouTube's lying to you. All these guys like, I used to date supermodels. Like, okay, grandpa, okay, okay, mate. I'm gonna be the first guy online ever to tell you that I've never fucked a model. Like, I'm literally the first guy who's ever actually said that. I've fucked like average girls. Why? Because I was average too, right? So not like ugly girls at all. Of course, there was some like girls, which I'm not proud of, but there wasn't like that many. Most of it was probably in line with what obviously I could have attracted when I looked like this in my first and second year of university, which you can expect is like women who, if we had to use the slightly autistic rating scale, would be like anywhere from a 4 to a 6 out of 10. That's pretty much the majority of my body count come from. And of course, there's going to be blue pill people saying that, wait, that's unfair. Why do you want her to be like sexually repressed and you don't be? But life is unfair. Life is unequal. Like, we can make as many societal equality acts as we want. But the thing is, our natural genetic state is unequal. What we are attracted to is very different. Women are attracted to upper body strength in a man. A man isn't attracted to upper body strength in a woman. We're not equal. We're not the same. Like, we should actually have the same equal opportunities, because that then creates societies to, you know, actually work functionally and go around. But to say that we're the same and to say that we should be like held to the same standards is silly. If you want us to be held to the same standards, right? You want us to be held to the same standards? Okay, change all of the standards in the military then. Change the standards for women to be held to the same as men. Change the standards for women to die as much in the workplace as men. Change the standards for women to be essentially pushed into unideal, dirty, hard as jobs as men. You don't want to do that, do you, bitch? The reason why we want to hold these high standards to women is because we aren't talking about a casual like dating partner or casual sex partner right now. We're talking about the biggest investment of your life, which is a long-term relationship and the woman that you're gonna have kids with. And if you're like religious, if you want to get married, then marriage as well. It's the biggest investment that you'll ever make in your life. You should take it seriously. I've done a decent amount of research on relationships, and I've looked around at like different factors that cause like good relationships and factors that break relationships. And it really does seem to be the case that at least one of, if not the most important factor, is just whether or not the woman has a modern view of sex. Because that modern view of sex shows everything else. It shows how she would have been raised by her mother and her father. Most likely, the tricky thing in this is like, if she's got a modern view of sex, she probably didn't have a strong father figure in her life. And that's like the huge red flag that all men know for some reason. It's like, if she hasn't had a strong father figure, she's just not going to treat you that nicely. Maybe she will through the honeymoon period, but it really will change after that. If she's got a modern view of sex, it shows that she's probably going to be a feminist. It shows like she doesn't like the traditional view of relationships. It shows that she's been in the drug party scene and also the dating app scene. This is the woman you want to have kids with. It's gonna pop into your mind to one day visualize her like being on Tinder, getting a message from some Chad and like literally replying to it and going to like fuck him on the same day, and you had to like wait for that. Or you're gonna like see her and know that for a fact like she used to go to clubs, she used to wear like slutty clothes, she used to go with her friends, and they all used to like pull guys and make out with guys and go and like get fucked in public, or like that's completely, you want to do that, absolutely fine, bro, because I do it too, okay? But you need to understand that your actions have consequences, and this is what a lot of women don't seem to understand. You can't just like do X and not expect the responsibility of X to also hit you. You've got to take responsibility for that your choices do determine how people behave to you. Of course they do. And so if you've acted in a certain way, you then deserve to be like responded to in a certain way. So if you have acted in a way that does not show that you're a high quality woman, then why do you deserve a high quality man? And to bring it back to the original study that I talked about, every sexual partner that she's had increases her likelihood to cheat on you by around 10%. If she slept with about 10 guys, it's pretty much guaranteed, let's say over 18 years, that she would cheat on you. Which I want you to really think that. I want you to think of with dating apps. I want you to think with the party club. I want you to think of like the girls' night out vibe, and she's still gonna have friends from that era and everything. Over 18 years, she's of course gonna dip her toes back into that vibe. And of course, if you kind of speak about this, she'll always say, no, I would never do that to you. And she's right. Like she's literally telling the truth in her mind. Of course she wouldn't. But you need a quick lesson on women, because when a woman talks about this stuff, she's talking about right now. You always have to add the words right now at the end of it. I would never do that to you right now if nothing changes. And of course, things are going to change. You're going to eventually lose your job. You're eventually going to gain some weight. Of course, this is the reason why we get onto self-improvement and red pill, to not go complacent. But things are going to happen. She's going to start a new job. She's going to get a promotion. If she gets a promotion, that's one of the other things that increases the likelihood of divorce hugely. And the other thing is also if her friend has recently gotten divorced. So you can see that I've done some like pretty like decent research on this. Those are the main factors, and it's always to do with the modern woman. Think about it, she's just got a promotion, she's got modern friends who just got divorced, or she's been like a bit of a hoe when she was younger. And one final controversial thing that I want to say is that if a woman cheats, it's your responsibility. And I know that that's quite like toxic, but I want to explain, because first, there's two reasons, right? If she cheats, that showed that you essentially gave your commitment to a woman who didn't even have the capacity to stay faithful because of the idea that she's had like a modern history before you. You knew for a fact that she had a fairly high body count, and you just kind of believed the blue pill lies. You didn't listen to your gut instinct that's been developed over billions of years of evolution. You listen to the fucking spurgs on Reddit and Twitter. And the second thing is that if she cheats, it's because you've went down in value, and some other guy appears to be more mysterious, more hot, more sexy, and you've lost that side to you because you don't flirt with her anymore. You don't like, treat her in the same feminine dating type of way. You've just got comfortable. She's smelt your shit 100 times, 1,000 times. You haven't been working that hard. You've been spending days watching Netflix and eating pizza with her. Well, then obviously she now considers you slightly to be a loser. And then she stumbles across a guy who's working as hard as you, and all like the tingles come back. So how would you even find out a woman's body count? Because it's so obvious as men, we know that if you ask a woman, they're still lie, which is quite interesting. That right there just proves all this to you, because why would a lot of women lie about this? Because they know themselves it's quite like a negative trait for them to have. So of course they'll lie, they'll manipulate you, and they'll gaslight you, and they'll bring the number way down. And also sometimes they're not even lying. Sometimes it's actually the truth in their brain, because women seem to cancel out certain experiences that they've had. And so if, for example, they've had like a drunken hookup that they weren't proud of, it didn't happen. If, for example, they just quickly go and meet a guy at like 1 a.m, it didn't happen. If the guy didn't nut, it didn't happen. If the guy like barely got hard, he only like barely stuck his dick in, it didn't happen. Of course, like that should count as like a body count, and it does like logically in like the statistics that we're using, but she will essentially bring that number down because it didn't count. She didn't like finish, so it didn't count. And so in a weird way, if you do want to have this conversation to try and, you know, find out your woman's body count, which I don't really recommend, because honestly it's like you don't need to know the certain number to know. The number just is an indicator of everything else. If it seems like she could have had a high body count because, you know, you've seen that, yeah, she used to party a little bit and she lives quite a modern life, then that right there is the huge red flag anyway. The number is literally just the indicator of that same red flag. But if we can conclude this with saying that you deserve to be with like the best woman that you can be with, and of course women deserve to be with the best man that they can be with, no one can argue against that. Click this video to learn more now. Do the hard work, especially when you don't feel like it.